Video game adaptation shows are all the craze right now. With the Fallout series and The Last of Us Season 2 being released, nerds and non-video game lovers are getting attached to great shows.
No one asked you, jizz boy.
But what happens when one actress nearly kills the entire franchise in viewership by 55%, losing almost half the entire audience from just being cringe and unlikable? Today, I want to talk about why Bella Ramsey nearly killed The Last of Us Season 2, and why she was pretty much set up for failure in the beginning. And I want to try to understand if this show really is the Chopped of Us, or if it's just an overreaction from the internet. Oh, and a few characters will be catching some strays, so hold on to your horses, especially Shimmer. If you have not seen The Last of Us, Jesus Christ, were you under a rock? Like, it's the best video game of all time. It's one of the best season 1 shows of all time. Here's a quick synopsis. Set in a post-apocalyptic world ravaged by a fungal outbreak, smuggler Joel Miller is tasked with escorting 14-year-old Ellie, who is immune to the infection. Across the country and along their journey, they form a deep bond. The season ends with Joel rescuing Ellie from the hospital and killing the Fireflies to prevent Ellie from using her cure and telling her that she's one of many and lying about it. It's kind of the synopsis of the game as well. There's more little bits and pieces I can get into, but you guys don't care, and I know that. Season 2 is The Last of Us 2, but the Part 2 version doesn't give the full extent, so I'm gonna give what I have. Years later, Joel is brutally killed by a woman named Abby, someone seeking for revenge for her father, which was one of the doctors Joel murdered while trying to save Ellie from the Firefly Hospital. Ellie sets off on a violent quest for vengeance through Seattle, with Abby's story slowly being revealed in this parallel and complicated story of which viewer is the right viewer. It's a controversial season for a lot of people because not many people wanted to see Joel die. Also, the Abby hate in the game versus the show was miles different. I want to actually give analytical data for all the people who are such big show fans that are going to come for me saying, bro, the viewership did not drop. I love the show. I watched the full season. Yeah, I know, Becky, you watched the full season. You were on your couch and you missed work for 4 days. Now let's get into the actual analytics. The average viewership of Season 2 averaged 18% fewer viewers than the first episodes of Season 1. According to data measuring streaming minutes, the final drop of Season 2 had 3.7 million viewers, a 30% decrease from the Season 2 premiere, which was 5.3 million, and a 55% decrease from the Season 1 finale, which was 8.2 million. Some reports did indicate that Season 2 gained some more average viewers, overall 37 million per episode globally after 90 days. I want to talk about how people probably found out and watched more because of how chopped the show was and how chopped Bella Ramsey did in the performance, that to say the average viewership went up for no reason is kind of crazy because there's a big reason for it. Let's not sugarcoat it. Bella Ramsey's casting as Ellie was really bad. It was not Ellie, and it was not supposed to be Ellie from the get-go. It was met with a ton of controversy. A little bit in Season 1 because she didn't look exactly like Ellie, but more in Season 2 as people got more pissed off by how she truly was not Ellie, and also didn't age at all from Season 1 to Season 2. Yeah. What is she, immortal? Let's dive into the character synopsis of Ellie so you can kind of understand why Bella really didn't hit the mark as Ellie and why you should hate me more. Ellie is a brave character willing to face terrifying odds, and Ellie is courageous as she goes on beyond the years of Season 1 to Season 2. Season 1, we see a little bit of a hesitant Ellie, and Season 2, we find a really strong character. The biggest reason was that she doesn't look like Ellie. This was the biggest complaint, and a large chunk of the Last of Us fan base just couldn't reconcile with Bella's face being with the Ellie that they grew up with. The snarky, cartoon-eyed, razor-sharp model after Ashley Johnson voicing her with the original resemblance of Elliot Page. People online really did tear into her. It wasn't until later did people have actually like reasonable reasoning to where I was like, who let them cook? They saw her in Season 1 and they saw her in Season 2 and saw absolutely zero changes. Ellie is a character, and characters do evolve. But if you're going by facial symmetry alone and the overall look, Bella never stood a chance in the mind of some gamers. And as much as I'd like to agree with them, I'm going to fully agree with them. I mean, look at Pedro Pascal as Joel. He embodies the voice, the physical build, and the overall aura that is Joel Miller.
This is too remote for infected anyway.
And in my opinion, Joel is a harder role to achieve. I mean, by jaw structure alone, he has already shown that he is a video game character. And also the manliness overall in Joel's stubbornness and hard shell core is a little bit difficult to portray.
Are you just gonna keep grouching on like this every time?
Aren't you supposed to be validating me or something?
When Bella Ramsey played Ellie in season 1, she absolutely crushed it in my opinion, and a lot of people said she did a great job. However, in season 2, she was fairly off from the character's real look, and even showing off some random cosplayers of people who try to look like Ellie, as well as some established actors like Elliot Page and Kaylee Spaney, you can see there was just more than one candidate for the role. The problem with bringing up this debate and arguments from true fans is it prompts the discourse for, why are you trying to make a 15-year-old look hot?
He's here to meet a 15-year-old girl!
And while that is a very weird thing to have as a desire for the character in your argument, if we look at basic comparisons, Bella Ramsey just does not look like Ellie. And if that is important to you, then that is a valid argument. Granted, if you want a 15-year-old to look hot, that is not a valid argument and you should be shot on sight. And for Bella not looking like Ellie, this is partially the casting's fault on not wishing to cast a girl who looks exactly like Ellie, but also just flat out creating the character in hair and makeup. I mean, look at these photos. If Bella Ramsey in season 2 was just added with a little bit of bangs and a little bit of freckles, it would have changed the look immensely. But instead, they decided to go for her raw, real, natural face, and while it may not affect newcomers who have never played the game and just want to get into the show, I am surprised with people who didn't play the game are so upset at video gamers for them being upset at Ellie not looking like Ellie in the video game. But here comes our first stray. Y'all thought I would get Ellie, just Ellie, and not get Abby caught lacking? Not beating a dead horse or blowing one up. But the person who portrays Abby is absolute dog shit. I'm not even gonna hold back on this one. Absolute dog shit. Compared to the original Abby, I mean, what the f is Abby in the game categorized as a buff, tall woman who's been training her whole life to take down Joel? But instead, we get a 125-pound wet Caitlin Denver who could be ripped apart by a clicker even if she had a shiv. And that's saying a lot. Someone better upgrade her skill tree with some mass gamer. Not to mention that awkward dialogue clip where she's flirting with Joel before she kills him.
I'd say you're about, what, 6 feet? In your 60s now? You actually are. Pretty handsome.
I don't know what kind of freaky Match.com one-liner she was learning while training, but she needs to stop. But more importantly, Caitlin Denver, I feel, could have been played by Shannon Barry, because like, holy shit, they look similar. Not to mention, Naughty Dog even mentioned themselves that Abby's original character was based off a CrossFit athlete, Colleen Foshi, and that girl's buff as hell. If I saw that girl playing Abby, I would not hate a single word because that girl would beat the shit out of me. I'd watch that character and go, you know what? Shannon Barry, hey, play Abby, Shannon Barry. So to have Ellie not be casted by looks and to also have Abby not be casted by looks, surely the acting is top notch and that's the reason, right?
I'm gonna be a dad.
Right? Reason 2 is that the voice is off and the energy is off with Bella Ramsey playing Ellie. Ashley Johnson, who voiced Ellie in the game, brought her to life with this layered, hard-shell delivery character that became so iconic. So when Bella brought in more of a subdued, emotionally raw version, people said she didn't feel like Ellie anymore. But let's be real, game Ellie and live action Ellie are two very different performances. A video game allows for stylized exaggeration and TV demands somewhat grounded emotion for people to actually get connected with the character and not just a high action packed video game cutscene that allows you to lead into a crazy shootout. But this didn't directly work with people as they wanted the stubborn Ellie that they got in the second game. The Ellie who was angry but calm about it, not vocal and very performative, just Ellie. And it was as if Bella Ramsey was given a note where she needs to overdo the character and not just play the game how it's supposed to play out. She's trying to put a spin on the personality that has been grounded for literal years and years, and fans were fed up with it in season 2. There are scenes like the dancing scene with Dina and Ellie that do not reflect the real Ellie.
What is wrong with you? I don't need your fucking help.
What is wrong with you? I don't need your fucking help, Joel.
And even the scene of Ellie finding out that Dina is pregnant in the game, Ellie is very upset.
I think I'm pregnant.
What?
I just need to rest for a second. Are you fucking kidding?
How long have you known?
I was late a few weeks ago.
A few weeks? We could have...
I wasn't sure, okay? I didn't want to be a burden.
Well, you're a burden now, aren't you?
But in the show, Ellie is oddly happy and I'm gonna be a dad.
I found a pregnancy test. Here. 2 lines means pregnant.
So we're having a baby. I'm gonna be a dad.
Yeah.
Anyways, it just seems like it doesn't fit. But let's not forget about the infamous scene where Dina sees Ellie covered in scars and bloody wounds, and Ellie is in pain from getting cleaned up from those wounds, reimagining what has happened.
I made her talk.
But Bella Ramsey sits plain and still like a boomer with a lead paint stare, acting like nothing is happening.
I made her talk.
It just kind of feels forced from an actress who was trying to change the narrative from a game that has such deep-rooted fan bases, as well as narratives that are pretty easy to follow and mimic and are already set in stone, or at least pixelated stone. Reason 3 is that the emotional scenes just didn't land like they did in the game. Some fans dissected every big moment from season 1. The death of Riley, the Firefly hospital scene, Joel's near-death escapes, and said Bella just didn't hit the same notes. But it was never full hate, as it was only season 1 and fans were just happy to get a Last of Us show. To be fair, the Last of Us game had years to emotionally marinate. Some video game fans have replayed those scenes 10 times over. And they weren't just watching Bella on screen with season 1, they were comparing her to nostalgia. But when it comes to raw performance alone, Bella wasn't bad, she was just different. More interior, less performance, more presence, but the nuance doesn't always hit on the first watch, especially when people are watching with their arms crossed. So I will say season 1 performed really well, but mostly because people were excited about the nostalgia of getting a Last of Us show finally. And I will say, I think Bella Ramsey, in my personal opinion, did good in season 1. For the format of what Ellie is supposed to be, she embodied it. Did she look like Ellie in the beginning of season 1? Kind of. I wouldn't say like it was way off, but season 2 is a drastically different look. So the fact that season 1, we were like, okay, not Ellie, but I fucks with it. Season 2 is like, why we have season 1 Ellie in season 2? But let's talk about Bella Ramsey's actual acting career. It's not just The Last of Us season 2 and season 1 that I think so many people think she's only done. The twist is, Bella Ramsey is actually a good actress. Not YouTube comment good, not, well, they tried good, but like critically acclaimed, award-nominated, BAFTA shortlisted good. People kind of forget or conveniently ignore that Bella stole scenes in Game of Thrones at just 12 years old, going toe-to-toe with acting veterans and dominated every frame. And every time, she's brought the range, the control, and the signature intensity that The Last of Us demands. Bella Ramsey was never trying to cosplay a version of Ellie. She was cast because she was understood and the emotional core of the character was there in her audition. And in season 1, whether people want to admit it or not, she did deliver vulnerability, rage, trauma, guilt, and all the characterizations that Ellie has. Just not in season 2. And look, it's okay to prefer the game, and it's okay to wish for something else, but pretending Bella Ramsey isn't a strong actor, that's not criticism, that's just denial. You're in your head, you're a boring incel gamer who believes that Bella Ramsey sucks and should be burned at the stake, and we should get a random 15-year-old TikToker who looks like Ellie with zero acting experience. That doesn't make any sense. That's not gonna work. Obviously, there's some reasons that the multi-million dollar HBO casted her, and she's not some random Nepo baby. But this wouldn't be a real criticism video if I didn't rip on her a little or a lot. Right? The problem with the debates and feuds on the internet is that people are divided on the show for so many reasons. You have one side of people ride or dying with Bella Ramsey, protecting someone who didn't do inherently anything wrong is being destroyed online. Then you have game buffs explaining why the game should directly reflect the show without any flaws, and holding Last of Us to such a high standard, kind of valid for gamers, but not so valid for the casual watcher. So who is right in this case? I'm gonna straight up tell you. The gamers are right. Up until you start only talking about Ellie's looks in season 2. If you can change your opinion on that and also say maybe it could have been good to brief Ellie on season 2 a little more, then yes, the gamers are right. She didn't look like Ellie, she didn't portray Ellie well in season 2, and it overall did not feel like Ellie in The Last of Us 2. If you only care about looks, your opinion is completely invalid because you look like a creep. You're allowed to care about the looks, but you're not only supposed to talk about the looks. You gotta have another argumentative premise in your head if you're gonna go head to head with someone talking who likes the show as a casual watcher. But if you don't, then the casual show watchers or TV mains are in the right. Because at the end of the day, the people who enjoy the show are the ones who are going to watch it, and they really don't care, obviously, about the game and the theories and the comparisons to the show, even though 55% of them stopped watching. Let's just call it what it is. Most of the hate around Bella Ramsey was never about performance alone, it was about expectations and nostalgia. But Bella never asked for this kind of pedestal of wanting these standards to be met. She just kind of showed up and played Ellie like a real person. And as season 2 dives into the darker and messier side of Ellie, we'll see just how much Bella Ramsey's version was building to this all along. And to have the fans to decide whether she grew into the real Ellie or just a phony version of it. Oh, and let's hope Abby gets on gear so she looks like Sam should look by the next release.
And you wasted it.
Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, please consider subscribing. Helps the channel a lot. And yeah, I've been LDK, and I'm out of here. Bye, guys.